This is CBC Late Night News.
Good evening, I'm Marivel Tarouk. A quiet neighborhood in Markham is a crime scene tonight. York Regional Police are investigating the deaths of 4 people found inside a home. The deaths are being ruled suspicious and 1 man is in custody. Hawaya Fadal joins us live from the scene in Markham tonight. So, Hawaya, what can you tell us?
Marivel, it's still a very active scene here. Police just pulled out stretchers just a few minutes ago, presumably to remove the bodies from the home. I'm going to step out of the shot here to give you a better view of the scene. There is police tape blocking off a big stretch of Castlemore Avenue where the home is located. A police command post has also been set up right in front of the home where the 4 bodies are currently located. Police have said that the 4 bodies are still inside the home, as I mentioned, and there's still a lot that we don't know about this investigation. Police have not released the names of the victims. They also have not said whether there is any relation between the victims and the man in custody. But here is what we do know. Police say they were called to the home around 3 p.m. today. The call was for a report of a possible injury to multiple people inside of the home. When they arrived on scene, they met a man at the front door who was then taken into custody. I spoke with York Regional Police earlier, and this is what they had to say.
Identities of the people in the homes is still unknown at this point in time. The coroner is here going through all of the scene. That'll help us to determine identity, age, gender. I just have nothing to provide on the identities of who's inside at this point in time. But we want to reassure the community as well that we do have somebody in custody, a 20-year-old man, and this investigation is ongoing, and we need the public's help here.
We also spoke with residents in this neighborhood who are still pretty shaken up about this incident. They said they can't believe something like this has happened in their neighborhood. Take a listen to what they had to say.
We saw the cruisers in here, all the police officers here, and we knew something big had happened, but we exactly didn't know whether it was a robbery or, never did think for 1 minute it was going to be what we heard right now.
We didn't know that somebody died, and then my husband says after an hour, oh, 4 people died. I was shivering. I said, my goodness, this is height of anything,
Very sad. The whole peaceful nature of this area has gone. It's sad also that it is scary for the rest of us.
This is still being considered a suspicious death investigation. It has not yet been ruled a homicide. York Regional Police have told residents of this neighborhood that they can expect a police presence over the next few days as the investigation is ongoing. Investigators have also said that they're asking anybody who knows anything to contact police. I'll send it back to you, Marivel.
All right, Hawaya, thank you. And some developing news tonight in the nationwide manhunt for 2 murder suspects. Tonight, police are investigating an unconfirmed tip that Cam McLeod and Briar Schmigelski have been spotted in the community of York Landing in northern Manitoba. RCMP say no one is in custody. As Austin Grabish tells us, much of their investigation has been focused on the town of Gillam.
Do you guys need help on the train I just rolled up?
RCMP officers search a Via Rail passenger train in Gillam. There is speculation the BC murder suspects might have hopped on a train or could still try to.
Trains like these run really slow out here, and it's like, it could really be plausible.
Elsewhere in their search, Mounties are combing the woods with a canine unit and using a special drone. Heavily armed tactical officers are also here, and the only road to Gillam has a mandatory 24-hour check stop that all drivers must go through. Major crimes investigators have also been brought in. They phoned Gillam cabbie Amar Sahota on Friday.
They wanted to know if I drop anybody in any camp nearby the Gillam.
The short answer, no. But he did get a strange call on Monday from someone wanting to be dropped off at a community called Bird as fast as possible. When the cabbie said no, that it was too far, he got mad and hung up. Sahota doesn't know who was on the other end of the line. But in a town that's become the center of international attention, anything out of the ordinary stands out and gets people talking. The military, meanwhile, is flying a Hercules above gloomy northern Manitoba skies for the second day in a row. But the search hasn't been easy. It stormed several times, making an already swampy area even wetter. On the ground, Mounties are knocking on every door.
Nothing is as normal as it was before. Everything's changed here, and everybody's on edge.
The Indigenous-led Bear Clan Patrol flew 7 volunteers out from Winnipeg to Gillam.
There's a high level of stress right now, and their way of life right now has been impacted deeply. They're all inside. We've been to a couple of communities. Everyone's indoors, everyone's scared.
Worried and waiting for news. Austin Grabish, CBC News, Gillam.
Major delays today at Pearson Airport after a network outage shut down customs kiosks for all international arrivals. Passengers took to social media to post photos and videos of long lineups inside the terminals. The kiosks are operated by the Canada Border Services Agency. It says technology issues caused a national outage of their primary inspection and Nexus kiosks at ports of entry across Canada. CBSA says the issue was resolved around 7:30 this evening, but long waits continued for hours to clear the backlog of passengers. A 36-year-old woman has been charged with second-degree murder after a body was found in a burned-down house in Aurora yesterday. The male victim was found inside the home near Wellington and Industrial Parkway South just before 1 a.m. after fire crews put out the fire. The victim has not been identified, and the cause of the fire has yet to be determined. A man accused of killing 2 men and injuring a third in a triple shooting last month was in court today, and so were family members of one of the victims.
We are pretty much shocked and devastated, actually. That's the right word. And this was a young man, a young soul, taken too soon.
Ahmed Muhammad was shot dead outside a residential building in the Mount Dennis neighborhood in the city's northwest. 33-year-old Denzel Kamoy Williams has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. The second victim, Christopher Teep, died in hospital after the shooting.
He was just he was a cool guy. Like, you see him, he will always want to say hi to people.
Police say they arrested Williams early Saturday. They also seized a firearm and ammunition. Well, last week marked the 1-year anniversary of the Danforth shooting, and now the family of one of the victims has started a foundation in her memory. It's called the Just Do Kindness Foundation, or JDK, in memory of 10-year-old Juliana Kosis, who was killed by a gunman on the Danforth. The campaign launched this afternoon in Markham. The money raised will benefit the Dr. J Children's Grief Center, helping to support hundreds of children, youth, and families facing grief, terminal illness, and traumatic loss. Well, let's do our first check of the weather, capping off this weekend. Let's check in with Matt DiNicolantonio. Hi, Matt.
Hi. Yeah, so not as much rain today as we maybe thought we were going to get. Just hot and sticky conditions, and that's going to be sticking around for at least one more day, unfortunately. You see the temperature on the wake up tomorrow. Keep an eye on this low front, or this low system, and the cold front that's pushing through those high temperatures that will remain through our Monday, unfortunately. This is what it's going to be like when you wake up, feeling like 27 already in Toronto, 29 in Hamilton, and that heat and humidity just going to continue to build throughout the day, feeling more like 39 in Toronto, 38 in Hamilton. So again, these high humidex values, not quite what we've seen over the last 10 to 14 days, but still just something to keep in mind as you head out and about. Now, as I mentioned, this cold front that's pushing through, this warm front actually is what's going to keep the temperatures high. The cold front is going to trigger the potential rain and thunderstorms through the evening on Monday. So if you have a soccer or a baseball game, can't guarantee that it's going to get in, can't guarantee that it's going to get rained out either, but we are going to see potentially some wet weather as we go overnight and into Tuesday morning. So comfortable conditions early on Monday, despite the warm temperatures, and rain a little bit later on.
Okay, thanks, Matt. The 2019 World Aquatics Championships have wrapped up in South Korea. The United States took home 13 gold medals in total and set a world record in the women's 4x100 meter medley relay. Team Canada took the bronze in that event and set a national record. Our Canadian women have certainly made their mark at the event, recording 8 medals in the pool, 2 gold and 6 bronze. We're going to hear from one of them after the break. Canada felt the burn today. U.S. presidential candidate Bernie Sanders was in Windsor. He joined 15 American families who trekked across the border to buy insulin at a fraction of the cost. CBC's Talia Ricci reports.
I still can't believe it. I paid $1,009 in U.S.
Making the 7-hour journey worth it for Kathy Seago. She says purchasing her son's insulin in Canada today saved her thousands of dollars. That cost weighed on her son.
I took that upon myself to ration my insulin.
All right, let me stop you right there. All right, I want everybody to hear this clearly.
U.S. presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders didn't hold back when criticizing the pharmaceutical industry.
So you got greed, you got corruption, and you got kids not taking the medicine they need.
On his bus, insulin-seeking Americans had story after story of struggling with the cost of living with diabetes.
My dad does a lot of business in India as well. He goes to India and brings insulin back for me.
I was rationing insulin that I was getting for one child and sharing it between two.
In a recent letter to the federal health minister, 15 groups warn of the potential for drug shortages, stating the Canadian medicine supply is not sufficient to support both Canadian and U.S. consumers. The Canadian Pharmacists Association signed the letter. It's also been asking pharmacists what they're seeing on the shelves.
They feel that drug shortages have actually vastly increased in the last 3 to 5 years. So that really underlines the problem.
A problem they fear will grow now that several states have introduced legislation that could allow residents to import drugs, including insulin, from Canada. Health Canada has said it's monitoring the situation and says these insulin tourists aren't putting a strain on the supply so far.
I realized, looking back, why our power went out, why we weren't able to go on vacation, why we weren't able to do these things that other families were able to do.
And this bus was a reminder of the high demand for affordable insulin in the U.S. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Windsor, Ontario.
U.S. President Donald Trump is again being accused of racism. This time, he's told Black Congressman Elijah Cummings to clean up his Baltimore district.
This is being perceived as racist. Do you understand why?
I understand why, but that doesn't mean that it's racist. The president is pushing back against what he sees as wrong.
Trump tweeted, "No human being would want to live in the city," calling it a disgusting rat and rodent-infested mess. The attack comes days after Cummings took Trump's acting head of Homeland Security, Kevin McAleenan, to task over conditions at Texas facilities holding undocumented migrants. Well, it was the final day of the World Aquatics Championships in South Korea, and Canadian swimmers have been taking the competition by storm. LaSalle native Kylie Maas now has 5 medals, the most won by a Canadian female swimmer. As Sofia Jurkstovich tells us, this is only a preview of what is to come at next summer's Olympics.
It has been a historic World Championships for the Canadian swimming team here at the 2019 FINA Worlds. 8 medals in the pool, 5 Olympic qualifications, and 19 finals. Those numbers surpass anything we have ever seen by a Canadian team at a World Championships. And I'm beside one of the members of Team Canada, Kylie Maas, who has been part of history in terms of team members and individually. We're going to get to some of your individual accomplishments in a second. But I want to start with the depth of this team, the strength of this team. This didn't happen overnight. This has been happening for years. Can you describe to the fans at home what the last few years have looked like and what it means to be part of history?
A lot of hard work and dedication and a lot of sacrifices, and I think each individual on the team has great potential and has achieved so much already. And being on Team Canada, we have so much pride and are honored to represent the Maple Leaf all the time, and we really try and do our best.
You seem to have amazing friendships too, and I'm sure that helps motivate and push each other.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's great to have close friendships and then also be competitors and competing together to achieve great things. It definitely helps with those successes.
For the first time in history as well, Canada has more than 1 gold medal at a World Championships, and you are part of that history. And on that note, you become the only Canadian, male or female, only Canadian swimmer to ever defend a World Championship title. What does that mean to you when you think about you being part of history and also your hard work paying off?
Yeah, I don't think it's really set in, because I think that's something that was definitely a major goal of mine coming into this World Championships, is defending that title, and I'm really happy with that, and I know I want to be faster and continue to get faster, because the swimming world is always moving forward, so I have to look into the future and look into next year and to get back to work.
You guys don't stop training, you don't stop working hard, but in an Olympic year, it just amps up 100%. For those people at home who are maybe just catching on to the hype of the swimming scene in Canada, can you just talk about the work you're going to have going forward? What does an Olympic year ahead of that look like for you guys as a team?
Yeah, so because it's an Olympic year, we're going to start a bit earlier at the end of August as opposed to starting in September, just to get that extra edge. And 8 or 9 times in the pool and 3 weight sessions is what I'll be, I think, doing leading into next year. And
I'm looking forward to the challenge, but I'm looking forward to the whole journey as well.
Anything you learned about yourself heading into 2020 and Tokyo?
I think can always be something learned, and I try and take something away from each and every race I do. So I'm gonna, after this, kind of reflect and talk to my coaches and see what I can do better for the next year.
Well, congratulations to Team Canada, and of course, congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
Para-athletes from around the province came out to the city's West End to try rowing, some for the first time and others with the hope of making it onto the national team.
That's what I'm hoping for, and this is a stepping stone to get there, but we'll take it slow and steady to see how far I can get.
Rowing Canada hosted a Come and Try It Day for those who want to give para-rowing a go. It's part of a recruitment process for Team Canada's national team and to show that anyone can participate in the sport.
This sport is for people of a range of abilities. If you have trepidation or fear that you can't get involved in para-rowing and rowing, that's not the case. This sport is for everyone.
Rowing Canada will be hosting events like these all around the country, scouting for the national team leading up to the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. We'll be right back. The Toronto Blue Jays have reportedly traded starting pitcher Marcus Stroman to the New York Mets. News of the deal surfaced shortly after the Blue Jays were defeated by the Tampa Bay Rays 10-9 at Rogers Center today. The Mets are reportedly sending pitching prospects Anthony Kay and Simeon Woods to the Jays. Stroman, 28, has spent his entire career with the Blue Jays and was named to the American League All-Star team this season. Earlier this evening, he tweeted, "Toronto, I love you forever." Well, some Toronto Island business owners are describing this year's season as strange. There was a late start with cold and rainy weather and significant flooding reminiscent of 2017. Now, things are getting back on track, but business owners say they've already experienced some losses. Angelina King has that story.
That's the new sound of summer for Zora Freeman McIntyre, the hum of 3 water pumps surrounding his cafe on Wards Island.
Do I love the sound of the pump? No, but it's really helping.
30 pumps along with around 15,000 sandbags were set up this spring to combat flooding. Things have improved, but it slowed down business.
We still get a number of phone calls a day asking about the flooding and if they can get to the island.
He says things picked up this month, but still wants people to know the island is open to explore. You may just run into a few hoses, puddles, and sandbags along the way. In May, Lake Ontario broke the 2017 high water level record, hitting just over 76 meters above sea level. Water taxis had to adjust.
With the water levels being higher, the bumpers are higher than the docks, so all the taxis had to put poles down, reaching down into the water a bit, just to prevent you from riding over top of the dock.
He's getting extra business. Ferries aren't taking people to Hanlon's Point Beach because of high waters, but taxis are. It's a little bit better here on Wards Beach, but there's still a lot less sand than normal. The beach used to extend past this tree, making a lot more room for people to be on the beach. These high water levels have people wondering, is this the new normal for the islands?
We're certainly concerned.
Linda Rosenbaum guides walking tours on the islands. Today, she had one group of 4, about half less than usual. Business is improving, but she worries about future flooding.
Seems like it's a climate change issue, so we'll see. I don't think we know what the future holds, but having a flood situation two years apart is extremely unusual.
Just down the path, another business owner reminds people routine flooding happens every 20 years or so, but says,
"We've never had anything this extreme, so something's changed, and I believe that the floods will maybe be worse from now on."
If that is the case, islanders say they're better prepared now than ever before. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, let's check in with Matt again for a look at the longer range forecast and this humidity. Matt, a lot of people are wondering if it's going to last into the week.
Well, the good news is that past tomorrow, Monday, things are going to start to get a little bit more seasonal and a little bit more comfortable. But unfortunately, as you can see, at least one more day. Through Monday, we're going to have those high temperatures into much of eastern Canada. So bear with us for one more day. These are the temperatures that we're going to see in the early hours and expanding as we get throughout the day. And again, these are just the temperatures going to feel warmer with that humidity. And then into the afternoon and the evening, we do have the risk of some potential severe thunderstorms in this area all the way up as far as Bancroft and out to Ottawa. But much of southwestern Ontario is going to be in this area that we're going to be monitoring. As we can see, this is Monday evening moving out into Tuesday where we're much more likely to get that precipitation. But as you can see, sort of spotty, so it's not going to be everywhere, and then clear out through Wednesday, which is the good news, because after that rain comes through, we're going to see much cooler temperatures prevail throughout the area. Take a look at Wednesday. Feels like much more comfortable into the low 30s, so a lot more comfortable for us as we get throughout the week. And the good news is that we're not expecting any rain throughout the course of the week as well. Sunny skies into the weekend. Maribel?
Sun's great. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
And that's our show for you tonight. Thank you for watching. As we go, we're going to leave you with a look at a series of murals that span 576 feet along a traffic wall on Finch Avenue West. More than 30 Toronto street artists have helped paint these. The murals weave together images inspired by Indigenous narratives, personal experiences of local residents, and the landscape of the Humber River. Beautiful show of art. Have a great night, everyone.